Hey everyone, and welcome to Offstage, a conversation with students, hobbyists, and professionals from the world of music about music with me, your host Anagh. And today I have guests Avinash and Suvankar. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey Anna, going pretty well. Thanks. Hope you're
Yeah,
doing well too.
I'm
Good to
doing
see you.
great. It's been a long time since I'm seeing Avinash.
Yes, it's been years
Yeah,
now.
yeah. As some of you know, Suvankar is a guitar mentor at Octavium, and Avinash is a former drum mentor at Octavium. And it's great to have the both of you here today.
Thank you, Anna. Looking forward.
Yeah. So, quickly, the first thing I want to ask is could you guys give a little bit of an introduction to yourselves? Avinash?
You want me to go first or
Yeah, yeah.
Suvan?
Avinash,
Okay,
go first. Yeah.
sure. Hi everyone. My name is Avinash. I am a drummer. I'm an educator. I have been playing the drums for the last 20 years now,
Hmm,
and I've been teaching for the most part of my drumming career. I've
hmm,
been teaching for close to a decade now, and I've worked at some of the best schools across Bangalore.
hmm,
Currently, I teach at Stonehill International.
hmm,
I teach drums and percussion at Stonehill International.
hmm.
And I also have a few projects that I collaborate, like a few artists that I collaborate with, and a few projects that are in the pipeline.
Hmm.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
me.
Nice. And Suvankar?
Yeah, I'm a guitar player. I have a day job so that I can
Hmm,
keep on playing guitar.
hmm.
That's
The side
short
hustle.
bio.
Yes.
Short bio I can give. But
Hmm,
yeah, I've been playing guitar for almost 15 years.
hmm,
So yeah, I've been teaching and playing gigs, doing freelancing,
hmm.
composing my music,
Yeah.
performing with other people.
Hmm. And you have
Uh,
your own project as well, right?
yeah, yeah, on and off.
On and off.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the first things that I ask all my guests, and I want to ask the both of you too, is how did you get into music, um, Avinash?
I would say it was an accident.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to get into the details in a few seconds, but I'd
Hmm.
like to begin with. I think when I was a kid, like maybe around 4 or 5 years old, my parents pushed me to learn Carnatic vocals.
Hmm.
So I could say that I started my musical journey at that age when I was probably
Hmm.
4 or 5 years old. But I wasn't a big fan of vocals or singing, and
Hmm.
I always wanted to play an instrument. But I did learn the vocals for a good, I think, 5 6 years, Carnatic vocals, although I didn't enjoy it as much at the time. Coming back to drumming, I think it was an accident. Like I said earlier,
Hmm.
I think it was just me and some friends of mine at school.
Hmm.
We were just talking about forming a band, and I always wanted to play the guitar at at that age, and I think we were around 10, 9 or
Okay.
10 years old.
Hmm.
I wanted to play the guitar, but a couple of my friends were already learning the guitar, and we had a keyboardist, and they were like, you know what, we already have two guitarists. There is already a keyboardist,
Hmm.
so why don't you play the drums? And I was a little surprised. I was taken aback, but because I'd never seen the instrument, I'd never played the instrument.
Hmm.
Uh, so like that's how it started. And then 2 months later, I think we had our first gig where we played, I think, one or two covers, and we had also written an original. And
Hmm.
this was for our school annual day at school.
Hmm.
It started off with I can't even remember. I think it was a Chowdhury drum kit or something. Rented it for about $500, and it was a lot of money back then.
Hmm.
We had to pull in, collect, like take some money from the school and all of that. And I literally saw a drum kit, I think about 2 hours before the show. I'd never seen a
Wow.
drum kit. Um, yeah, and I ended up playing the songs. We had one rehearsal for about, I think, 20 minutes or something on like with the drums,
Hmm.
and ended up playing on stage and zero mistakes. That show went pretty well for like a first time gig.
That's
So
insanely impressive, I must say.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's me. I mean, it started with that, and I think after that, it didn't give me a lot of time to think about, okay, what other instrument do I want to play, or do I want to like go explore something else.
Hmm.
because there were a lot of school fests and like competitions that were happening that we just continued to
Hmm.
participate in.
Hmm.
So I was never really in that frame of mind where I was like, okay, you know what, let me just try another instrument or whatever. None of that happened. I just kept going with drums, and yeah, I mean, 20 years now, here I am.
Yeah, and I think in a way, your friends not letting you play guitar because they were learning it turned out for the better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And one question I have is since you mentioned that you did Carnatic vocals before
Yeah,
drums, even though you didn't enjoy it, did it in any way help in the learning process that went behind the drums?
that's an interesting question, but I don't think, I'm not sure. I haven't thought about it too much.
Hmm.
I think the one aspect it helped me in is to develop a routine, or like being disciplined and being committed
Hmm.
to doing something,
Hmm.
because the lessons were scheduled. I think, if I remember correctly, I used to do about 2 or 3 lessons in a week,
Hmm.
and it had fixed timings. So being
Hmm.
regular to my classes,
Hmm.
which equated to practicing my songs after I started
Hmm.
drumming. So it definitely helped me, because again, vocals and drums, I mean, drums is an unpitched instrument, so I can't
Yeah.
really compare the two.
Yeah.
But it gave me a lot of, yeah, it gave me a lot of, it taught me the discipline that is needed to stay focused, and, like the importance of
Hmm.
practicing regularly,
Hmm.
and things like that. Things that I needed when I was starting off drumming.
Hmm. And I think one thing I have to say, especially for a lot of viewers, is Avinash is one of the most disciplined drummers I know. And I can speak from experience because, fun fact, Avinash did teach me for quite some time.
Oh yeah.
And we focused on a lot of discipline. I remember having to do 10 push ups a lot for either not doing homework or something on those lines. And
I think I think with the whole push-ups thing, it's also a good form of, it's a good way to warm up your wrists and
yes, that
free
is
up
true.
your hands. That was the intention behind the push-ups, and not to,
Yeah.
like punish the students or anything. That was not the
Yeah.
intention. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, but those were fun times. And
they were.
so
Yeah.
yeah. And Suanka, what about you? How did you get into music? And
Yeah,
yeah.
it's somehow similar like Avinash. I started as Hindustani vocal lesson.
Hmm.
I just I was learning Hindustani vocal, and Rabindra Sangeet, because I am Bengali, so it was kind of
Hmm.
staple thing. So I was doing for a while, but when I turned around maybe 12 or 13, I
Hmm.
discovered rock music.
Hmm.
Deep Purple, Guns N' Roses, Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Ah.
this kind of stuff. So I was like, well, you can play guitar, and well, I really loved the sound of the guitar, and I thought, okay, wow, it's cool.
Hmm.
Let's try that. So
Hmm.
I was singing. I tried to strum few chords and try to sing along with it. Later, I didn't focus much on singing. Mostly focused on the
Hmm.
guitar. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
how it started.
Hmm. How was the first time trying to play the guitar and sing? Did it go horribly or did it go well? How did it go?
I guess I was
Would you say?
I was not playing the chord changes, like take one chord and try to sing the song. Well, I know some chord
Ah,
is
okay.
not going with the chord, but yeah, I can play drone at like 1 and 5 and try to
Hmm.
sing
Hmm.
it. Yeah, but I for some reason I found guitar is more interesting, so I slowly quit the singing, and I convinced my parents that I'm not liking singing much. I'm gonna play guitar. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you've turned out to become a really good, really great guitarist, and
Thank
you're
you.
one of the few jazz guitarists that I know, and who plays jazz well. That is
Yeah, I play jazz, but as I told before, my initial influences are kind of a blues rock,
blues rock. Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
guitar playing or the music.
Hmm.
Still I love that. I would like to play that kind of music.
Yeah,
Still
yeah.
listen, still play this kind of stuff. Yeah.
And both of you being teachers, and not just teachers for a long time, you would have taught a lot of students. I want to know through that experience of being teachers and having taught a lot of people, how has that helped you grow as a musician yourself? Because I know teaching has its own way of when you teach, you get taught yourself. Avinash?
I think one of the things for me, Anag, is like you mentioned, yeah, when you are teaching a student, you also learn a lot.
Hmm.
And I think I still have moments where I kind of see myself
Hmm.
in the shoes of the student. Um, and I think those moments are important for every
Hmm.
musician, every I won't say teachers, but every musician. For a performing artist, it's different.
Hmm.
But for a teacher, it's different. But I think these moments, these key moments, are important because this is when you reflect. You
Hmm.
you reflect on where you are in your musical journey and what or how you would have reacted in if you were in your student's place, right? You
Yeah.
kind of go back to those moments and you're like,
Hmm.
it's more like an aha moment. You're like, hey, I've been there, and
Hmm.
this is not what I would have done or I have done in the past, right?
Hmm.
And it's always new because it's also very refreshing because I what I do is I kind of make mental notes, or I even like I write a little bit about these moments that I have. I like to
Hmm.
make notes because these are the things that I kind of pick up from. I learn, I become better,
Yeah.
and this also helps me kind of fine tune or refine my teaching methodology, and then
Hmm.
make the classes more interesting for students and myself.
Hmm. And Suvankar, anything to add to that, or any different experiences that you had yourself?
Oh, yeah, like I like to say, like is the teaching uh, been the integral part of my life from since the day one. Like someone
Hmm.
told me, I mean, someone showed me one chord. I just
Hmm.
learned it. Then I showed that to some other guitar player. Maybe someone
Hmm.
taught me, this is the chord progression for Summer of '69.
Hmm.
Okay, then I taught someone else. And that's how it started. And it's pretty much is same. Like I'm just learning from other people, maybe from YouTube, maybe from other faculties.
Hmm.
Some of my teachers, and I'm just passing the same knowledge, to the
Hmm.
students. And
Hmm.
obviously, that's how it's been happening for a while.
Hmm.
So, good part is now I'm earning by doing that.
Uh,
Okay, so
hmm.
yeah, so it's been always like that. It's
Hmm.
always like that. Always like learning something and teaching that thing to someone else, learning
Hmm.
from them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So when you teach something to someone else,
Hmm.
and I'm sure you would have done that a lot, like
Hmm.
you were saying,
Hmm.
how has that process of teaching someone else helped you grow as a musician, if it has?
Uh, you know, the way you explain it, because
Hmm.
you explain a certain way, people understand that. And I
Hmm.
can give you a musical example, rather than
Yeah, yeah.
using words like that day I was teaching, like I was this not giving the introduction of 251. There's
Hmm.
an integral progression, and it's like, and it has the cadences, two different important cadences. So
Hmm.
if I tell, okay, there's a 251 in jazz, and you have to listen some jazz songs, blah blah blah. Maybe who doesn't listen to jazz or that kind of music, they might not understand this. So
Hmm.
now, and if I say, okay, the Billie Eilish "Happier Than Ever," the new song, it has a 251.
Okay.
Okay, or maybe it has a it has secondary dominance. So
Hmm.
it's very contemporary. Like I love to choose example from what's happening right now, and try to,
Hmm.
and that part excites me a lot.
Okay.
Just maybe I have learned something from some other guitar player, but I found that same concept, maybe the contemporary player using, and how they
Hmm.
using in a maybe different form of music.
Hmm.
So yeah, that part I really like. Does it make sense? I mean, did I answer
I
your
think
question?
I get the
Yeah,
gist of what you're saying.
yeah.
But my main question
Okay.
itself was when you are teaching someone else,
Hmm.
and you've taught a lot of people. When you are the teacher, how has being the teacher for someone else helped you grow as a musician? Like for example, when I try to teach my sister how to play drums, it helps me develop patience,
Okay,
for
like
example.
that.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think I've mentioned earlier, like always been a part of that, like teaching. I mean, learning and sharing, learning and sharing.
yeah.
So that's how I have grown up. Now,
Okay,
your question is how it really helped.
that's right.
Obviously, when you learn something for yourself is fine, but when you are explaining that stuff to someone else,
Hmm.
you have to have you know good control of and you have to have the solid
Hmm.
knowledge, and you have the I mean better understanding and as much as
Hmm.
you can, because they might ask different question which never occurred to your brain before.
Hmm.
Yeah, right. So in that
Yeah.
way it's kind of interesting. So they ask sometimes silly, sometimes interesting
Hmm.
questions, but it's all interesting for me, and I try to answer that.
So it helps you build your foundation
Yes,
because you
yes.
have to explain it to others
Yeah, yeah,
multiple times. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing I would say is a pretty big thing you would learn as a
Mm-hmm.
teacher.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
being teachers, I have an interesting question for the both of you, which is
Anag, before you
okay.
go ahead,
Yes,
I
yes.
think I would like to add something to what Suvankar was just telling you.
Please.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is also like something that's not spoken about too much, but all teachers do this regardless, but it's not
Hmm.
spoken about. To
Hmm.
answer your question, to the previous question, right?
Hmm.
How and what it is that teachers learn in the process.
Hmm.
So, whenever we are picking up a concept, whether it's a song, whether it's an exercise or a rudiment or whatever it is,
Hmm.
we spend time. We put in a lot of time and effort. I mean, that I'm also talking about difficulty levels. As you
Hmm.
progress, you pick up on advanced concepts, or you take simpler concepts and you get into more detail. You get more
Hmm.
technical about it, and you spend time and effort. And
Hmm.
when you do that, you kind of overcome a lot of obstacles with or without a teacher's help. And of course, I'm
Okay.
talking about the level that we are at. I would say like
Hmm.
intermediate,
Hmm.
like towards advanced, heading towards advanced, right?
Hmm.
We spend a lot of time and effort with or without the guidance of a teacher. And
Right.
when we are passing on these concepts,
Hmm.
obviously easier concepts to
Hmm.
students, I think it would be easier because we have kind of gone through that process so many times. One of the
Yeah.
first things that we would follow as teachers is, hey, how am I going to simplify this for somebody else?
Hmm.
Exactly.
How do I make the other person understand a concept that I probably took, a couple of days, or, 3, 4 days, or whatever it is, or even a month or 2 months,
Hmm.
in less than, say, an hour.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that's just the beginning, but that
Yeah.
is, I think, most of our lives. I mean, as teachers, we are constantly thinking about making things simpler,
Hmm.
helping people understand concepts quicker and faster,
Yeah.
and not just quicker and faster, but also helping them retain the concepts, break it down in a
Yeah.
way, such that it's so much fun that they never forget the concept.
Hmm.
It's theirs, it becomes theirs.
Yeah, I think that's one very key thing for teachers, which is having to explain a concept that they already know, but they have to simplify it in such a way that the student can understand the concept themselves.
Yeah,
Because if it's
yeah,
overcomplicated, then they have no idea what's going on, and then they get all confused. So
exactly.
I think that I think that factor can differentiate between a good teacher and a not so good teacher. It will be a
Absolutely.
very key role.
Yeah.
And to the question I was about to ask was, what for you is an ideal student? Avinash?
Okay. So for me, I think an ideal student would be someone who is open minded to
Hmm.
learning. I
Okay.
can't say learning drums, learning,
Hmm.
I would say anything. Just walk into class with an open mind.
Hmm.
Walk into class with an open mind. And of course, the question is also, it can be reversed. And you could ask the student,
Hmm.
who for you is an ideal teacher?
Ah.
So it's never really always about the student. I would say
Yeah.
like it's a two-sided question. Both of
Hmm.
There's something that the both of us will have to answer. And something that do, I still do, and I used to
Hmm.
do this at Octavium,
Hmm.
and there's something that I still do before the student signs up to class. I spend some time with the student, if the
Hmm.
student is a kid, is under 18,
Hmm.
as well as the child's parents, and
Hmm.
understand what their needs and expectations are,
Hmm.
and why the child is interested in learning that particular instrument,
Hmm. Okay.
because that gives me some perspective. It helps me plan my lessons better. I
Hmm.
kind of get to know the child,
Hmm.
which is important, because the lessons then can be catered, or designed according to the need of the student,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? And it's the same for the student.
Hmm.
The student should be comfortable with the teacher,
Yeah.
should be able to communicate.
Hmm.
uh like, so I've seen a lot of students who are like really shy in the beginning.
Hmm.
They start the first few lessons, and then they start to open up. Then you start seeing progress even on the instrument.
Hmm.
So I mean, that's like a really, it's an interesting question, but I have so much to say about it. So much to say about it. Like, I have, I can go on and on,
Hmm.
but I think I'm going to stop at that. I think I would, just to sum it up, I would say an ideal student is someone who walks into the class with an open mind.
Hmm.
And I think the same goes for the teacher. Even the teacher shouldn't have too many. I mean, I've grown so much as a teacher from my times at Octavium,
Hmm.
right? And getting back to the question, I would say the same thing about the teachers. A teacher should also walk into the class with an open mind, not
Hmm.
have expectations. The student
Hmm.
has to be the best, has to be the worst. None of that. Just go to class, create that environment and the atmosphere that the time and the situation needs,
Hmm.
and just have fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think from what you've said, I myself have learned a lot, because I actually haven't thought about the question being a two-sided question, not just what's an ideal student, what's an ideal teacher. I have not thought about that. So that's really opened my mind into something different. And I think both teachers and students can learn from what you've said. Students can learn when you said they should have an open mind. I think a lot of students who haven't thought about it, or they just went into class like, I'm coming because my parents forced me. I think them viewing it as, okay, let me just keep an open mind. Let me just go see all about it. Let's see what happens. I think that'll help them learn better and have a better experience in class. And also for what you said for the teachers, which is having an open mind as a teacher and not expecting the student to be the best or to always finish their homework, but to just go and be there to help support them. I think that is very true, and something um, all of us should pick up and learn from. So yeah, thanks for that, Avinash.
No problem, Anag.
And Suvanka, what about you? For you, what
What
would
was
be
the
an ideal
question?
student?
I completely lost it. I mean,
The question was, what for you is an ideal student? And I guess after what Avinash has said, I would ask you, what is an ideal teacher also?
yeah, ideal students, those who pays in time and don't bunk the classes. Yeah, that's
Plain and
but
simple, I
yeah,
like it.
yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, but one thing I agree with Avinash. I agree with most of the things. Like we have to design the way we teaching. It has to design according to the students because everyone is different.
Yeah.
Everyone understands differently, and
Hmm.
you have to have patience, and
Hmm.
that's all. And
Yeah.
understand what the students really want and what they are looking for. If they are not finding what they want to do, or if they're confused, you just show the way, you know,
Hmm.
and try to. I mean, I always try to give them a little bit of information, and ask the force them to be imaginative, because being creative around even if it's a simple exercise, can you be more creative with this exercise, can you come up with something,
Hmm.
just my idea is always like give share some information and give them option to become creative around it, so that so they can use whatever the stuff they are learning
Mm.
from me, and they should be able to use it while they are playing or jamming, coming up
Mm.
with their music, whatever.
Yeah, no, I like it, and it's a pretty straightforward, like
Yeah,
like you said, and yeah, I guess students having to learn what they do in class and then being able to apply it is a very key
yeah,
factor when it comes to progressing in music
yeah.
in general.
Rather than dumping too many things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the next thing I have to ask is I know that both of you sometimes jam together.
Yeah.
So, can we expect any original music, any performances coming out, anything that you can talk about?
Should I say?
Avinash, Swanker,
I
who
think
wants to talk about it?
Suvankar, you should go ahead. And I also like the fact that you mentioned sometimes because it's only been sometimes. I think literally like
Yeah. So I got a gig in Goa or somewhere around that February or the March of 2021. So we are looking for a drummer. So I
Hmm.
got to know about Avinash. I knew him, but
Hmm.
he was posting few stuff online, and it was really interesting. I said, "Hey man, let's jam." And I was
Hmm.
thinking like, let's jam. If it goes well, probably we can go for the gig, that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. So we started practicing few of my tunes, few of the covers, standards,
Hmm.
and because of the pandemic, gig got cancelled. It never happened. So
Hmm.
yeah, so then after that we thought, yeah, because you also like same artist, like Avinash listened to Osnoy, Dev Vocal. I'm a huge Dev Vocal Osnoy fan.
Hmm.
So you know, so somehow we have the same interests. So we say, hey man, we should jam sometimes, frequently. We should be doing maybe like one or two tunes. Let's jam on it, and uh, but again, because of the pandemic, we couldn't do it, and
Hmm.
then we have our schedules. Avinash works in the school. I have a day job, so
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to find time for the jamming. But we
Hmm.
are planning to do, jamming and coming up with something, and
Do
presenting
we
it.
have any dates? Not specific dates, but rough approximates.
Uh,
maybe a
Do we?
couple of months, probably July, you could expect something because I think we are in the process of working towards something.
Okay.
yeah,
Again, but it's going to take
yeah,
time. But hopefully soon, maybe in a couple of months. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I will keep an eye out, and I encourage the viewers also to keep an eye out
thank
because
you.
the
Please
moment
do
they
that.
announce it, we shall all come
Yeah,
and see what you guys have to offer.
Absolutely.
I want to see how you guys play together. That'll be something interesting for me, and
Interesting for us too, Anag.
interesting for you too. Yes, of course. And now I want to get into slightly more questions that apply for you both individually. So I'll start with Avinash, and this is what I want to ask you about is Trinity. So I believe you've done all the Trinity grade levels. You've also done up to level 4 in music theory, right? Or was it level 5?
Level 5 and music
Level
theory.
5, level 5 music theory, and you have the teaching
The licentiate. Yeah.
the license, teaching license.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to know is a lot of people have this whole no, I wouldn't say a slight confusion as to like, okay, there are these Trinity exams, should I take it, should I not take it, do they help, is it just certification? For some students like, oh, my parents are saying I should do exams, but should I really do the exams, is it worth it? So could you tell us about the significance of Trinity exams and how it helps and how it helps us to grow as not just a drummer but as a musician ourselves.
Absolutely. So I think I would like to begin with why I started taking up these grade exams. Um, I think from the beginning, I've been a little bit of a nerd when it came to music and especially drumming.
Okay.
I've always, like wanted to learn how to read and write music because that
Hmm.
helps me communicate with other musicians,
Hmm.
right? That's important.
Yeah.
So it started off with that, and then came in the fact that I chose music as a career. I started teaching, and
Hmm.
one of the things about being a teacher is if a student asks you,
Hmm.
could you help me, like read this piece of music, the teacher should be in a position to help the student understand.
Yeah.
So it was more of a need based thing, and out of my own interests that I
Hmm.
started doing the Trinity Grade exams.
Hmm.
Now that being said, uh, I did Trinity because at the time that's what I had access to. That's something that I was more familiar with. There are
Okay.
other schools. There is Rock School and there is ABRSM. I mean,
Yeah.
ABRSM has only like snare drums, I'm guessing. It's not all the, I mean, it's not like drum kit. It's not
Hmm.
like Trinity. There's
I'm not
Rock
too sure
School.
about that myself.
Yeah,
ABRSM.
yeah. There are a couple of other schools as well,
Hmm.
but this is something that I chose because this was what was more popular at the time. And I
Hmm.
also chose classical
Hmm.
over the rock and pop because rock and pop was my kind of my comfort zone, and I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. I
Okay.
wanted to choose something that's not too comfortable playing. And in rock and pop, I mean, in classical is also where you learn how to read better music.
Hmm.
You learn more rudiments. You kind of
Hmm.
focus on the things that you don't normally focus on in rock and pop, like dynamics, for instance. It's a
Right.
huge thing. So it started off with that. Now coming back to what was your question again? I'm sorry. I tend to like talk so much I to a point where I kind of forget the question or I assume the questions. I kind of make up my own questions. What was
No,
the
it's
question
all
again?
right. The question was, how does doing these Trinity exams help you get better as a
It
musician?
did.
And what's the importance of it? Because some people are always like unsure whether it's just to get
Right.
a
Oh, yeah.
certificate.
About the
Yeah.
certification. Yeah. So for those who are considering taking it up,
Hmm.
any exam, Trinity, Rock School, or whatever it is,
Hmm.
do it. Don't do it because there is pressure from the school or pressure from the music teacher to take up the exam. Do it because
Hmm.
you really want to
Hmm.
grow as a musician. Like I just mentioned, like I chose it mainly because I wanted to learn how to read and write music. And
Right.
also another thing I forgot to mention, it also improves your vocabulary, your
Ah.
song vocabulary. You start
Hmm.
listening to different kinds of music.
Hmm.
If it's rock and pop, well, it's rock and pop. If it's classical, it's blues, it's jazz, it's like Latin or
Hmm.
whatever. You listen to so many different kinds of music.
Yeah.
Now, again, there are two approaches to it. You can
Hmm.
either do it like the one I just mentioned. You find a song that's like blues, for instance, and then
Hmm.
you explore different artists. You learn
Hmm.
from that. You're not just
Right.
doing the exam, but you're actually learning, and that
Hmm.
process is continuous. It's not as it doesn't end as soon as you give the exam and walk out of the exam
Hmm.
room. You use all of that knowledge to your advantage, and then you continue building on it. You learn more
Yeah.
and more and more and more, right?
Yeah.
That is one side of it. Or if it's like straight up, okay, I want to go give the exam, I want to get 95%, 99%, I want to get a merit thing. That works too. I mean, it's completely up to you.
Hmm.
um, but one of the most important advantages, I would say,
Hmm.
of these certifications is, especially for kids, or yeah, mostly for kids, not
Hmm.
so much for adults. I'll get to that in a moment. But
Hmm.
if you finish all the 8 grades before you're 18
Hmm.
and you're getting into college
Hmm.
outside of India
Hmm.
for your undergrad,
Hmm.
each certificate has certain credit points that kind of
Okay.
add up, and those can be transferred into the college once you do move abroad.
Okay. I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that is good. And what makes it better is if you are able to complete all the 8 levels before you're 18, you also have a ton of listening experience. You've learned so
Hmm.
many pieces, you've learned so many pieces from across different genres.
Hmm.
You've kind of evolved and grown as a musician.
Hmm.
um yeah, yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get to finish all 8 levels before I'm 18. I wouldn't say I didn't get, I would say I didn't. I
Oh no,
finished
that's not, it's
six
not like a,
levels.
you don't
I
have
know,
to do it
I know
before
what you
you're
mean. I
18.
know what you mean.
Yeah.
Even I actually wanted to do this whole, I wanted to be able to finish the levels before 18. but I am gonna try to finish level 8, I think, in both classical and rock and pop before I turn 19. So while I'm still 18. So
That's
that,
good.
I hope I'll be able to do that.
Better late than never, Anna.
Yeah, that's right. Better late
And
than
to be
never.
honest, I did my grade 8, I think when I was 26, 27. I don't know. I can't
Ah,
remember. Probably, yeah, it's been a while.
hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it, the importance is it's just this. If you want to grow as a musician, if you want to listen to different pieces of music and,
Hmm.
just that and learn how to read and write music, the grade
Yeah.
exams are fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, very true, very true. And like you said, the reading, writing, that helps. And of course, especially in classical, where it opens you up to so many other genres of music that you might not
Yeah.
have discovered. And if your interest is piqued in one of the genres, that kind of makes you go and explore other artists of the same genre. So it opens
Exactly.
your mind into so many more other possibilities. So
And oh yeah, another thing I would like to mention, this is not just for someone who wants a certificate up on their wall.
right.
Coming back to what you just mentioned, if it piques
Hmm.
their interest, say in blues,
Hmm.
you're like, it could be someone who's just trying to discover genres, discover a genre that works well for them.
Hmm.
Once they find it, they're like, you know what, I don't need exams anymore. I know which direction I want to head in, and they just continue learning. They
Hmm.
just continue learning, say, blues. They
Hmm.
spend time listening to a lot of blues, playing along to songs,
Hmm.
finding people to jam with, and that is in a way a certification that, like, there's no certification, but
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah. And coming to Suvankar, what I had question for you was you have your project, which is Suvankar Ghosh and other stories.
Yeah, Suvankar plus two
So
stories.
could you tell me a little bit about that project and about some of the stuff that you put out? Because I believe you guys put out your own other projects. I had recently checked out the latest one, the pop culture one.
Yeah, so basically it's kind of started as a bedroom project. Like, I was coming up with some ideas, so I wanted to record. Back then, I didn't have any recording, you know,
Hmm.
devices at my place, so I went to a studio and recorded a few guitar tracks and asked my studio engineer. He found actually the Ashwin
Hmm.
and the Ravi play drums for the drums and bass, and they contributed to the song.
Hmm.
And that's how it started. And yeah, that's how it started. But we played a couple of shows. Then we uh, went for a college fest called
Hmm.
IISC Pravega. IISC
Okay.
Pravega, become runner up there. You know, yeah. Then we played few shows here and there, but yeah, that's all. But mostly it's been a studio project when we've been
Hmm.
like recording a few stuff in the studio and putting up the videos. If you can go to our channel and you can see a few videos of the original compositions
Yeah.
out there. Uh, so yeah, when it comes to the sound and we don't want to call ourselves jazz,
Okay.
although I'm really influenced by jazz, and obviously when I'm trying to write, that influence
Hmm.
just
Comes out while the
gets
writing. Yeah.
there, right? So there are few places for improvisations, but if you listen to the sound, it's kind of rock sound because I'm using overdriven guitar, loud drum set, and electric
Hmm.
bass, that kind of thing. So we like to call it a fusion, like a rock fusion, rock and jazz
Hmm.
fusion. But you can hear, whatever the influences whatever the bands I'm listening to, like there's a funk part in the song,
Hmm.
then there's improvisation, then distorted guitar riff,
Hmm.
shredding, maybe some songs completely clean,
Hmm.
so I think it's whatever the stuff I've been listening to or I've been practicing to, or it's just like those are getting reflected in that, setup. Yeah.
Okay. And one more question I had for you is you do improvise a lot, right?
Yeah, that I
And
like to call myself as an improviser mostly.
yeah, so one thing I struggle with as a guitar player
Hmm.
is improvising. Like it's like the when I try to just pick up the guitar and just try to play anything, not a song, not a cover, just something, just start improvising, just playing something random.
Hmm.
It's like everything I know about guitar I forget. So one thing I want to ask you is, what has helped you get better at improvising, or just playing something, or just randomly
I
playing something?
I think I was
Eh,
too lazy to learn the solo and play exactly the way it is.
Okay.
Because because I studied classical guitar for some time, and basically in a classical guitar, you have to play exactly the way it is, note by note, dynamics by dynamics, the way it's written.
Hmm.
So I was doing for a while. Then I was thinking, okay, fine, but I wanna play my own stuff.
Hmm.
So that was the inception.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the reason I think that was a necessity for me. Rather than I was getting too lazy to learn the solos, so I just try to you know juggle around with whatever the stuff I already know, and be creative in the process.
Okay.
That's the thing. Obviously, there are a lot of technical things out there that you have to do. Later, I got
Yeah.
to know about those, and it helped me to enhance the vocabularies and whatever. But that's the bottom line for me. Like, if I know something, okay, if I suppose like I know major scale,
Hmm.
how can I make music out of it? How can I play all over the neck? How can I come up with the stuff, some licks, some lines? Be creative in the process. That's the thing.
Because for me, it's like every time I try to be creative, it's just like a mind block. It's just frozen. I don't know what to do. It's like, oh, am I staying in scale? How do I stay in scale?
Oh, okay,
What
okay,
am I
okay.
doing?
I think it's
So,
there's two things like sometimes when we do, you should not be thinking much because it happens. It happened with me. In sometime it happens with me. Like
hmm.
by mistake, or we just switch on our analytical mind. We try to think what we are playing, what people would be thinking. Am I be able to play? Would that be good or would that be
Hmm.
bad? So I guess you have to be more intuitive in the process, and
Okay.
trust. And frankly speaking, is whatever we play, like it's not the best all the time. Like I
Right.
have like I play one stuff and say, wow, and it's so bad. It could have been better. So it's like a trial and error. It's no shortcut, man. Like you just have to love that process.
Hmm.
It's not. It never. For me, like whatever the stuff I play, whatever the stuff I do, it never been like someone told me, hey, do this, it'll make you a better player. Hey, learn
Hmm.
jazz, or hey, learn this improvisation or do something. It's
Hmm.
I really loved it because of that. I tried it, and I something works for me, something doesn't.
Right.
Don't work. Yeah.
So I think I have to keep trying, so that, because right now it's only error. There's no, so the
I'd
trial
like
and
to
error
add
keeps.
something, Anag.
Yeah.
My
Please
two
do. Yes.
cents. I'm not a guitarist, but Swanker, please correct me if I'm wrong. But
Yeah.
what you mentioned about, like you forgetting what to play as soon as you pick up and you want to improvise.
Hmm.
Don't have anything in mind. Let go of whatever you've practiced and
Hmm.
try and appreciate the song. I mean,
Hmm.
whatever it is that you're trying to improvise on, you would have something at the back of your head, right? Like there is a storyline that you're playing to.
Not
Keep the
really,
theme,
actually. For
keep the theme
me,
in mind,
okay.
and try and appreciate it. It doesn't have to be super complex and like really fast
Yeah.
like what Suvankar does.
Yeah.
Not yet, not
Yeah.
yet. Start with keeping it really simple and just trying to feel that music and appreciating that
Exactly.
piece of
Hmm.
music for whatever duration it is.
Okay.
Once you do that, once you get comfortable doing that, your
Hmm.
fingers and your mind is, it starts getting creative, like more
Hmm.
creative ideas start coming in, and then it's all about progressing.
Ah. Okay, that does make a lot of sense. But when I was talking about me struggling, right, I was talking about not playing with backing track or with music. I was just trying, like, okay, I want to pick up the guitar. I want to just try playing something. It can be
So
anything.
let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What are your emotions at that point of time? How are you feeling? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling sad? Or are you angry? It depends on that. So go with it. You have to kind of dive deep inside, go
Hmm.
in, and then find out how you're feeling. What kind of music do you want to play?
Okay. I've never thought about it that way. I think
Because
I'm gonna
music,
take you up on
in
that.
a way, it's pretty much emotions. It makes you feel
Yeah.
something.
Hmm. Because half the
And
time I'm confused when I try to play something. If
and
it's
music,
not something I already know, if I'm trying to say write something, it's like everything I know about how to play guitar, I forget.
Yeah. And
for
music is
example.
also tension and release. So if that is
Yeah,
happening too much, just throw the guitar away for a while. Just go play some drums and then come back to it. Take a break from it. Listen to your
makes
body
sense.
and
Yeah.
mind.
By
Yeah.
the way, I just like to add. Other day I was sitting and Anok was playing guitar, and he was playing a wonderful slippery thing. He just transcribed everything
Yeah.
solo, the note by note. Oh wow! And Avinash, you might know because you're the teacher. The other day he was doing a drum performance. I don't know which song he was playing, but it was damn cool. He just playing drums, and halfway through he switched to the guitar and play some guitar. So wow,
Oh,
wow, that
nice.
was.
Thank you so much. It was Upside Down by Jason Richardson
Oh wow,
that I
wow, wow.
played. But the thing is, I wanted to play the guitar, a specific guitar part in the song when I was switching instruments, but I couldn't learn that the guitar part in time, finish learning it because it was really difficult. So I actually switched the song. It was so the guitar part I played was a different song, and the drums was a different song. I
Oh,
just merged the two songs together.
oh, I didn't know that because
Yeah.
I don't know the song, which song it was. I mean, it's like good performance. I mean, so you're doing, you were learning and playing different instruments, and it's
Yeah.
really, I mean, interesting and inspirational. Like in playing
Yeah.
drums and guitar, you know.
Thanks so much,
Uh,
Swanker. I think one thing
you're
that
very.
I've learned by playing multiple instruments is
Hmm.
applying what I've learned in one instrument and taking some of those concepts and trying to apply it somewhere else. Or some things I've learned in guitar, say guitar has helped me in learning something else that I'm trying to learn in drums. Like
Wow.
if I'm trying to learn a song, if I learn it first on guitar, the structure of the song sits better in my head. So when I'm learning the drums, it becomes easier. For example.
So song is the number one. Like whatever song tells you go with that.
Yeah,
That's what you want to
something
say.
something like that. It was just an example, but there have been ways where knowing multiple or learning multiple instruments has helped in how I grow as a musician in those other instruments itself.
Really.
But the last question that I have for the both of you today is, what would you say is one highlight in your musical career so far? Avinash?
Mm, highlight. I can't really because every day is new and like I don't really look at it as oh my god that was the best moment or whatever, like okay,
Hmm.
but to okay, I'm going to keep things simple. I'm going to
Okay.
save deeper discussions for maybe another podcast or another time we meet.
Hmm.
But I think the best time I've had till now was probably the one of the workshops that I attended in the past. This
Hmm.
was the Big Drum Bonanza.
Okay.
It was organized by Thomas Lang in
Ah.
Los Angeles in 2013.
Hmm.
I had gone there in 2013 as well as 2017, and
Hmm.
I think 2013 was hands down one of the best moments or the highlight of my drumming career, because this is also, I think, was just around the time when I had started teaching, when
Hmm.
I chose to be a professional musician and I started teaching and performing. And
Hmm.
this was just around then, and it really gave me a lot of confidence, and I learned so much.
Hmm.
It was a great way to kind of kickstart my career as a musician, just what I needed.
Hmm.
So, yeah, and it also gave me an opportunity to meet some of the world's best drummers, spend time with them, learn from them,
Hmm.
tech for them, have dinner with them, and it was incredible. It was
Hmm.
incredible. Like I think every musician should just go through something like that, because it's like a life changing experience.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that would be my highlight.
Oh, Thomas Lang workshop would have been a crazy thing to
Oh yeah,
be
it was
part of.
Thomas Lang
I can
at the
only
time.
imagine.
It was Thomas Lang, Chris Coleman, Virgil
Oh,
Donati, George
oh,
Scolius,
wow.
and oh yeah, Stanton Moore was also a part of it,
Hmm.
and John Detty from Anthrax and Slayer.
Huh.
It was incredible.
Oh, that must have been insane. I
Yeah,
can only
he
imagine.
was. Yeah.
Yeah. And Suanka, what about for you?
Ah, man, it's a tough question. I have to think like what.
Is there a moment in your musical journey that you can look back upon and you can say, "Oh, that was a good time that I had"? If anything stands out, any kind of experience like that?
Uh, Not. I mean, I can't think of anything as of now. If I remember, maybe I'll share with you. But yeah,
Okay.
it's every day. It's like like the like whatever happened. Let's go for the new
Hmm.
thing, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And every day, every time I play is great time. It's the last time I'm playing. That kind of
Hmm.
try to give my best.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. So the most enjoyable moment, I would say, like okay, now I'm playing in front of people, and now
Hmm.
or playing for myself. I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah, I know that what happened.
No, I think to add to
Uh,
what Suvankar is saying, I think that's why I said there is not a like a major highlight moment. I mean, like a
yeah.
highlight or anything, because
Every
for
day is
us, I
new.
think it's important to stay grounded and
Hmm.
not to get too overwhelmed or by anything,
Hmm.
Exactly.
because that's when you learn, you continue learning,
Hmm.
because the more highlights and whatever else you have in life,
Hmm.
you kind of like stop growing, man. And that's in most cases, I won't say everyone, but in most
Hmm.
cases you kind of stop learning, you stop evolving as a
Hmm.
human being. Forget musician, you stop evolving as a human being. And
Okay.
I don't think
Hmm.
none of us would want to get there, because we are so creative, and like we are in the creative spaces. We
Yeah.
always want to make something, create something that is better than yesterday,
Yeah.
right?
I think
And
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
I
No,
think
please.
I
process,
Please.
we
found
want
the
to
answer,
learn
man.
and
I
become
got the
better.
answer.
Oh, you got the answer.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
There you
That
go.
day I picked up electric guitar. Oh, that's
Ah.
so it's like
Okay.
wow, man, it's a new instrument, a lot of sounds come in, that
There
kind
you
of
go.
thing. Inspirational.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I've I've been there. The first day you get your own guitar. Yeah. That's quite the experience. And I think that's a great note to end on. Also, it's been
yeah.
a this has been episode 21 of Offstage. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me in this episode.
Like
Um,
Thanks for having us, Anag. It was
yeah.
great.
Yeah, of course, anytime. And I will catch the viewers in the next episode. You can find both Avinash and Suvankar tagged um, in the description of this episode. And if you're watching this on YouTube, their Instagrams will be linked below. And yeah, I'll
By
see
the way,
everyone
guys,
in the next one.
Anagh is amazing musician. He plays
Ah,
drums, guitar,
Oh
and
yeah, a
vocals.
multi-instrumentalist.
So multi instrumentalist. He does so many things, and really inspirational. And
hmm,
good to spend some time with you. And you guys,
yeah.
been meeting Avinash after a while. We
Absolutely,
never
we
had
have.
a chat, me and Anagh, so it's good.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
Oh, and before I forget, so this will be releasing, everyone will be watching this on Saturday. So if you're watching this on Saturday or Sunday, on Monday, the 20th, Swanker is doing a workshop at Octavium with
Oh,
Amita.
fantastic.
So be sure to come for that if you can.
I like to correct you a bit. So,
Oh, okay. I think I
yeah,
got something wrong.
20th, I'm playing with a guitar player from Chennai, young guitar player. He's 17, but he plays amazing.
Yeah,
Amita
Amita.
Ghosh,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we are playing a duo set. We are
Yes.
playing a couple of shows in Bangalore. So one of
Mm,
the shows would be on Octavium. So
mm,
it's not a workshop. Basically, we'll be playing guitar-based music. Like if,
mm,
especially those who were guitar player watching. Like if
mm.
you are into Pat Metheny, Jimi Hendrix, um, what I can remember. Oh, okay, I can't remember.
Mm,
So if you're into guitar music, please do come.
mm,
And it's a guitar duo. We have taken few standards, few songs, and
mm.
arranged for duo guitar.
Yeah.
And obviously, while performing, we'll be talking about the pieces, and you could ask questions how we are doing it.
Yeah, so it's an interactive show. That's right.
It's an
That's where I
interactive show.
that's where I
Yeah,
got a bit
it's not like
confused. Yeah,
hey
that's
we
where I
are
got a
not
bit confused.
hey we are
Yeah,
star
yeah,
playing two songs and go.
yeah.
Like
That's
that.
where I got a bit confused between workshop and an interactive show. But yeah, it's an interactive show. It's on 20th. So if you're watching this before the show has happened, do come for it.
This
And
is the 20th, you said.
yeah, the
20th.
20th
Okay,
Monday. Yeah,
awesome. I think I'm going to be there. This sounds interesting.
yeah,
And
awesome.
I have
Then
holidays going on right now, so yeah,
yeah,
Wow.
then I will see you both on 20th, and I
yeah,
will see the viewers in the next episode.
Yeah.
awesome.
Bye.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Anag. Have a
Yes,
great
Good
thank
evening.
you.
night. Have a
Yes,
great
have a
day.
great evening.
Great
Cheers.
Yeah.
time.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.